You can't let external factors dictate how your training is going to go. I've seen people in the gym just immediately defeated because the piece of equipment they wanted to use was being used. Um, a certain person wasn't at the gym, or a group of people wasn't at the gym, and you could just tell, you could see it in their eyes that they're just immediately defeated. That everything that was ideal, or everything that was a support system for them, was not there. So then automatically the workout is trash. If you are solely motivated by, if your workouts are completely dependent upon anything outside of yourself, you are going to struggle a lot. You need to find a way to use yourself first and then outside second. As an example, there was a time when I had to squat 1,100 pounds. It was Circumax, so it was 800 pounds straight weight, 300 pounds of change. But regardless, 1,100 pounds, that's lots of weight. And it turned out that none of my training partners showed up for whatever reasons. And there wasn't a way that I was not going to do the work. I had a meet coming up, the work had to be done. So I found these big square boxes that the Olympic lifters had. I stacked them up directly underneath my plates. Kind of like I've seen Blaine Sumner do that before because he trains alone with ridiculous weight. So I set the boxes high enough to where it was just underneath my depth. So if anything were happening, if I were to fall or whatever, it would fall in the boxes. I'd be fine. And it was literally just me and my wife. My wife Kathy was filming, and it actually turned out to be in an amazing rep. It was very awesome. It was an easy rep. If you kind of find out what you're made of in circumstances like that, because it's you're either going to fail miraculously or you're going to succeed miraculously, and you learn something about yourself. You learn that you're capable of things. And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just using it as an example that there wasn't any way that I wasn't going to do the work was what needed to be done. I had a competition coming up. It just, the fact that nobody showed up to train, that had no consequence to me. It's just work had to be done. I found a way to do it. And if I were someone who relied solely on the support of others first, not secondly, if I were someone who solely depended on the help of others first, that workout wouldn't have happened, and I probably would not have had a very good meet because I just did not do the work necessary to prepare me for it, both physically and mentally. That built me just as much mentally as it did physically. There was a time when I trained at a gym that had anything a powerlifter could possibly need. Anything you needed as a powerlifter, it was there in surplus. And I had a falling out with the people at the gym, and I found myself training at a commercial gym. It was my choice, so I'm not trying to play the victim card here. It was my choice to leave. So my only option was training at a commercial gym. The commercial gym had probably 10 to 15% of the amenities that I had at my other gym. When I initially went there, they did not even have a monolift, and as a multiply lifter, you kind of need a monolift. All they had were the Rogue, monster hooks, that didn't really hold a whole lot of weight, and it was a sketchy situation trying to squat out of them. But within a year of training in that different situation where all reliance had to come from myself, and I did have some training partners that came with me, yes, but going from having every amenity you could possibly want as a powerlifter to having basically nothing and having to improvise, I ended up hitting a total PR, and I had not hit a total PR in 6 years prior. And then after that total PR, I went on to hit the biggest total of my life. You find out what you're made of when you get put into circumstances they're not advantageous. You know, there's a good saying that adversity does not build character, it just reveals it. You find out real fast what you're working with when yourself is all you have to work with. So if you are someone who relies heavily on external motivations and factors and support first instead of yourself, you are going to struggle to get past the wishing phase into accomplishing phase. You need to find a way to be able to get that from yourself first. That drive has to come from within. It has to be a pure drive. You have to know what you're doing and why you're doing it for. And is, you know, like I said, if the outside factors are not there for you, you are still able to follow through what you're supposed to do, because everything comes from within first. Everything else is just an added bonus. So once you find how to do that, you're going to move past the wishing phase into the doing phase, and you'll find out a lot about yourself, and you'll be surprised how much is inside. Trust me.